Conversation about God, faith, and what it means to live submitted to Him is more common in Afghanistan than any place else I've ever been. For Afghans, God is important and religion is central. Perhaps it's the influence of Islam, although there are many Muslim countries where talk of faith is not so common. More likely, it's the reaction of a people of deep faith to the darkness that settled over their lives. Lives marked by trauma, violence, oppression, and poverty. Perhaps many of my Afghan neighbors are secretly like that old, white-haired woman who stood in the middle of the mountains and cried out to Allah, "What have we done?" For many Westerners, the question of who God is and what He wants for and from us is simply not relevant. We are, after all, wealthy and busy. For Afghans, it may be the most important question of all. One afternoon, after a long day of work with more to do in the evening, I was sitting in a neighbor's house drinking tea. I had known the family for some time and felt quite relaxed with them. Suddenly, the husband asked, "What do you believe will happen to you when you die?" We had not been talking about religion or faith or even death, so the question surprised me. I said, very simply, "I'll wake up in heaven." Then I asked my own question, "What do you believe?" The entire family was in the room, both men and women, boys and girls, all sitting together. One of the men explained his faith to me. He told me that when a Muslim dies, he must first cross the Pul-e-Salat, the bridge spanning the chasm of chaos separating heaven from earth. He told me the bridge is as thin as a human hair and as sharp as razor. If a person is righteous and has enough sawab, credit from the good works he's done, he can go across the bridge. If a person is unrighteous, he will be cut to shreds and fall into hell. Then each person will be judged by Allah. Allah will weigh his good deeds against his bad deeds. Allah knows everything and has written our actions in a book. His measure will be just. If a person has enough good deeds, Allah will welcome him into paradise. I wanted to make sure I understood the message. I drew a line on the swirling red carpet with my thumbnail, which I'm representing here with a string. That was the bridge. I put the thermos on one end of the line. That was heaven. I put my teacup on the other. That was me. Then I took 2 cut glass bowls of treats from the floor between us, one full of wrapped candy and the other of almonds. I arrayed the bowls in my hands and asked, "So this bowl, the candy is like my good deeds, and this other bowl, the almonds, is like my bad deeds, right?" "Right." "And God weighs them, right?" "Right." "How do you know if you've done enough good deeds, if you have enough candy to outweigh your bad deeds, the almonds?" Almost everyone in the room smiled and shrugged. You don't know until you get there. I realized how I could explain what I believe. I said, "Yes, I believe what you said. I believe that God will judge us, but I also believe God knows that we will not be good enough. We will not have enough sawab, good works, to earn our way into heaven. The Injil, the book of Jesus, said that God loves us and wants us all to go to heaven." I took another small bowl, and then nearly empty one, and turned it upside down on top of the almonds. The 2 bowls, one covered, one open, sat on the floor side by side. I said, God loves us, so He sent Jesus to cover my sins, my bad deeds, so that when I stand before God, He doesn't look at them. The entire family watched me carefully. I picked up an empty cup and set it down on the floor next to the thermos. I said, "Yes, it's difficult to have enough of our own righteousness to get across the bridge. I don't believe I have enough. I am not that good. I may do good things, but God sees every corner of my heart. He knows me completely, and believe me, I'm not that good." Here's the thing. I don't have to be good enough to get across the bridge on my own righteousness. I put my hand on the cup that I had set down next to the thermos and said, "The Holy Quran teaches that the Honorable Jesus came from heaven to earth." My companions nodded. They knew that part. God knew I wouldn't be good enough, but He still loves me, all of us, and wants us to come to heaven. So He sent Jesus to help us. I slid the cup across the line I had marked in the swirling carpet. My cup and the Jesus cup sat side by side on the carpet in front of me, the two bowls beside them. He gave me faith to believe in him. When that happened, it's like he picked me up. I stacked my cup on top of the Jesus cup. When it's time, he will carry me across the bridge on his righteousness, his sawab. He hasn't done any bad deeds, only good deeds. You know that. He will carry me to heaven on his sawab. I slid the two cups across the line and set them down next to the thermos. Then I pointed to the two bowls, one still covered, and I said, when God judges me, he will not look on my bad deeds because Jesus took care of them. He will welcome me into heaven. That is what I believe. My friends looked at the bowls, the thermos, and the cup. They looked at me and at one another. They were thinking about what I had just said. Finally, the gray-bearded father said to me, you have a beautiful God. I smiled, put the cups and bowls back where they belonged, and took a drink of my tea and said, yes, I think I do.